Now the latest on that new wave of unidentified objects causing chaos across North America. 3 more of those objects shot down by the U.S. over the weekend. There was one off the coast of Alaska, another one over Canada, and then this latest one over Port Huron in Michigan. Now an urgent search is underway for the debris, and it comes just days after that Chinese spy balloon was shot down off the coast of South Carolina. Wreckage from that still being recovered. John Kirby addressing the concerns at today's White House briefing. Here you go.
As we have said, we do not assess that these most recent objects posed any direct threat to people on the ground, and we are laser focused on confirming their nature and purpose, including through intensive efforts to collect debris in the remote locations where they have fallen. In each instance, we have followed the same basic course. We assessed whether they posed any kinetic threat to people on the ground. They did not. We assessed whether they were sending any communication signals. We detected none.
For more now, let's bring in ABC News' Elizabeth Schulze. She's at the White House. Also, our ABC News contributor and former commander of U.S. forces in Korea, General Robert Abrams. So, General, let's start with you. What the heck is going on here? What do you make of all these incidents? Do you think they're connected, not connected? I mean, we got a little bit of explanation from John Kirby, but still a lot of questions.
Well, I think you got to break it down into two separate. My recommendation is to break it down into 2 separate incidents. One, you have the Chinese balloon, and put that aside, and then you have the other 3 unidentified objects. And I think the way the government and the Department of Defense has handled them consistently is appropriate. And John, you got to take John Kirby at his word that we don't know exactly what the 3 unidentified objects were. They followed the same process, very deliberate, pose no threat, no kinetic threat to people on the ground. But the most important thing is, at that altitude, they do pose a threat to civilian airliners. And that is, I just happened to look at it, that's a very popular route for airlines to get from the continental United States to Asia. I've flown that route to Korea before. So it is absolutely appropriate to ensure that we take those actions to eliminate those threats that could unexpectedly come up on an airplane and knock it out of the sky.
So, General, look, you commanded U.S. forces in Korea. You know a lot about what China is capable of. Why do you think the Chinese would try to do something like this? And because you see kind of the domino effect of what's happening now. And do you think that we are vulnerable when it comes to national security? Because as our Terry Moran pointed out in the White House briefing to John Kirby, he said, look, we're seeing our vulnerabilities in real time now. You can't dismiss that.
Well, first off, I'll say to all of our viewers, this incident with the balloon from the Chinese is not a one-off. This is just one of many, many things that they have continued to do over the last 15, 20 years of a strategic intelligence gathering across many domains on the United States of America. They do it in the cyber domain. They do it in our industrial domain across our industrial forces. They do it throughout our university and colleges. And it's all part of a very strategic plan by China to steal our secrets and or seed doubt inside the American people and to gather as much information as they can. So this balloon is just one of many. This is a long time pattern. And we should all pay attention to this. Now we have a command, Northern Command, and its component, Northern Air Defense or Aerospace Defense Command, which is a bilateral command with the Canadians. Their #1 mission is defend the homeland. And this incident has exposed some potential weaknesses. So we should all pay attention to this. And I've got great confidence that the Department of Defense will learn from what occurred over the last couple of weeks, and they'll continue to modify that, what our posture is. But this is something that we should all pay attention to.
All right, and with that said, Elizabeth, now we're hearing all this talk about the possibility of this being related to reports of unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UFOs. Is the White House even going there?
You know, they are, Kira, and I think it's worth noting just how remarkable it was that at the top of the White House press briefing, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre basically got up to say this has nothing to do with aliens or extraterrestrial creatures, as far as we know. She really said we want to rule that possibility out, and John Kirby echoed that sentiment later. And, you know, this does speak to the growing kind of questions more broadly about how often is this happening? How much was it happening before? And John Kirby did point out that we are seeing more of these because they've adjusted the radar to kind of notice more of these in the first place. And that's why we've kind of been noticing this more just in the last week since that Chinese spy balloon was shot down. But of course, there are, you know, part of this is because the president, John Kirby said, has put a renewed focus on finding out what is flying in the sky. Of course, that's going to create all sorts of speculation, Kira.
Of course, it always does. General Robert Abrams, Elizabeth Schulze, appreciate you both. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.